Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Shaykh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. So we're going to start today on Hadith 7 and 8, Shaykh.
Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, Shaykh, do you want to start with any dua?
No, inshallah, we can start. We have a lot of questions, right? So we can start, inshallah, with the questions. Inshallah.
All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There's one question that we missed on Hadith 6 last week, 71 and 72. The question is, when do we really respond to the unintentional and intentional offensive actions on those who seem to view us lower than them?
Okay, how to respond to that, right? Okay. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Bidnillah azza wa jal, we're going to start and we'll see inshallah how many questions inshallah we'll be able to fit. We ask Allah azza wa jal to bless our time, bless our understanding, and enable us to see whatever He subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and to stay away from what He hates subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if there's somebody who views us as lower than they are, now of course if there is something that is unintentional and you realize that it's unintentional, you have to understand that it was not meant to separate. If there is intentional, right? I don't know, it says that your speaker is not working. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Shaykh.
Okay, inshallah, good. So if there's somebody who's trying to hurt you and it's intentional, and now here it's different between somebody who's really very close to you and somebody is distant. If somebody is distant, right, let's say a distant relative or a friend or an acquaintance who's trying to hurt you, it's easy to separate from them because you don't have to see them all the time, or really you don't have to care about what they say. If it is somebody who's very close, that hurts more. But either way, you got to understand that the way that they see you is not how you are. Like somebody, anybody, and this is related to some other questions, inshallah, that we're going to be talking about. The way that somebody sees you, it does not mean that this is who you are. So you have to separate between someone who's telling you you are this, this, and that, and who you actually are. So separate between how people see you, right, and who you are, especially if that someone does not have the correct view, correct understanding, and the correct practice. So if somebody who is lacking in piety and lacking in wisdom assesses you in some way, you got to be able to say to yourself that assessment is wrong, and to separate yourself from that assessment and say that is simply their own opinion and their own ignorance. When you're able to separate yourself from that, it's not going to be as hurtful. Because when does it hurt? It really hurts when you start believing what they're saying about you. When somebody says that you're stupid, let's say, and you believe that you could be, right? Then that is really going to hurt you. You're incompetent. You are unsuccessful. You're a failure. If you believe that, then that's really going to hurt. But if you believe that what they're saying is false and you're the opposite of all of that, then you can brush it off easily as an ignorant statement. Just like somebody, for instance, let's say that you're tall and somebody says you're short. Well, that's not going to offend you so much. Why? Because you already know that you're tall. But if somebody says you're too tall and you are tall, if they say that you're too tall, because you believe that you could be too tall, and that is a sore point, that could hurt. But if you disagree with that assessment, you can brush it off easily as someone who's telling you that you are short. So you see the difference. So try to separate from what they're saying. Separate from what they're saying and seek Allah's assistance in that. Meaning, Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, so consider how the prophets of Allah, although our trial is definitely not like their trial, but still how the prophets of Allah alayhimu salatu wasalam, whenever they were hurt by their people, they sought Allah's help. They sought Allah's assistance. So try to do that against whatever people are saying against you, and understand that what they're saying is simply their own ignorance being manifested. If they think that they're better than you and that's why they're speaking, that's simply their own ignorance and arrogance being manifested. Distance yourself from that ignorance and focus on what benefits you, inshallah. So seek Allah's assistance. Don't pay attention to what they are saying and separate yourself from it. Inshallah, I hope that will help you, inshallah, deal with it, inshallah.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Now, alhamdulillah, so we're going to move to Hadith 7, the heart's attachment to this world. Sure, we have about 11 questions. Okay, we try, yeah, inshallah.
Yeah. Inshallah, we'll try to go, we'll try to answer as many of them as possible, and I'll try to be, inshallah, brief and to the point, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, question number 1. Should we attach our worthiness based on our condition to society or community? Sometimes, as a mother who is struggling raising my kids, I feel that I didn't do much and feeling guilty about it.
Okay. So when I read this question, I thought, this is one of the most important questions that we're going to be having today. So whether you're, this is really an important thing to pay attention to. The question is about, should I attach my worth to my contribution to society and community? And she says, especially as a mother who's busy raising my kids, I don't feel like I'm contributing to society or to somehow being celebrated by somebody outside, and that is that is contribution to society. By being a mother, by adults, balanced adults who are pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jalla and beneficial in society, as future parents who will have children and will keep doing that, this is the greatest contribution. So nothing else, in fact, should be demanded or asked of you more than, you can do more if you want, absolutely, but the greatest and the noblest task is raising your children, because that's the greatest contribution. And this is more important. As I was thinking about it, you know how sometimes we invite people to Islam and they accept Islam and this makes us happy. But that is not more significant than raising a child as a Muslim. That is actually, raising that child is even better than inviting someone to Islam, because this is you raising somebody on Islam from the beginning. And if they have that within them, those solid foundations, they'll continue to have that until their death. So that is the greatest contribution. So this is the first thing to keep in mind. I don't want anybody to tell us that if we are parents or if we are mothers specifically, that you're not contributing to society because you're not outside doing this and doing that. That's first. Second, do not attach your worth to physically doing something outside necessarily, or whatever we're calling contributing to society, right? Your worth really is connected to the taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal. Now that could be through service, help, as you said, contributing to society, it could be. But not everybody, and this is why it's important, I said don't attach it to contribution, because not everybody will have the opportunity to contribute, either time or resources or abilities. Maybe they may not be present. I don't have the time. Or whatever society needs, I don't have. So maybe the best that I can do is be a person of taqwa. Protect people from my harm. Maybe that's the best that I can do. That in itself is a contribution. Maybe the best that I can do is make dua for people. Maybe that's the only thing I can do. Let's say I'm sick, or I'm, whatever. I have circumstances. I live in a place where I can't do anything. The only thing I can do is just make dua. That is the contribution that is needed from you. Now, if Allah Azza wa Jal grants you and opens doors for you where you can be able to help others, then alhamdulillah, offer that. But that is what is going to define you. So don't let that define you, that unless I'm outside giving da'wah, I'm nothing. Or unless I am outside helping with this organization or that organization, I'm doing nothing. Don't let that be, what defines you. What defines you is your taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So sometimes, and for some of us, the taqwa of Allah is to be outside, is to help in da'wah, is to help in publishing books and reading books and lectures and inviting people to Islam. That, yes, in collecting sadaqah, charity, and giving it, in organizing projects. Yes, for some of us that is the contribution, and this is how maybe Allah will take us to Jannah. For other people, it isn't. We don't have those opportunities. My path to Jannah for some people are my children, is my house, is taking care of my parents, is things that are not glamorous, that no one is going to stand and clap or tweet about. No one is going to know about except Allah Azza wa Jal. So let that be the criterion, okay? Taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal, wherever Allah had put you and had placed you. You don't have to copy somebody else. Just look for what is the maximum benefit I can give and prioritize. So you don't hide at the expense of your children and say, because outside is more important than my children. No, we want children is more important than outside. But if you're done internally, household, and you still have extra time to do something with your sisters, your brothers, or view it.
Shaykh, how do you know that we're done inside and we could consider to be working on the outside? How do we know?
How do we know? Well, we want to look at our obligations, right? So what is my obligation? So for instance, as a parent, let's say as a mother, is towards my children, right? It's towards my children. So if I find that I'm doing something outside, but it's compromising my obligations to my children, then I got to rethink my priorities. Why am I giving outside my attention, whereas my children are suffering? And they're school, they're suffering in their Islamic education, and because I'm trying to help people on the outside. So people on the outside, I'm the only mother to my children. I'm the only father to my children. Nobody else is going to step in and take my place. So that's the first priority, meaning that look at the obligations that Allah had given you. Taking care of my parents if they're older. No one can come from the outside and take care of them. It's me. Supporting my wife financially, okay? Or sometimes, the husband is financially kind of suffering. So the wife is, whatever it is, but whoever is supporting the household at this moment, right? I can't be taking money that they need to eat, okay? I can't give my time to people on the outside and not give it to my family. But once I know that my family has what they need and I have something to spare, alhamdulillah, then I can give it to people on the outside, right? So this is specific talking to families, parents, especially those with younger children. To be able to establish them.
Shaykh, the line is a bit intermittent.
I'm sorry?
The line is a bit intermittent.
Okay.
Okay, so in the future, I'm going to tell you when it's intermittent.
Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. So basically, we have to look within our family whether they are okay or not, our condition before we start to work on the outside. Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah.
All right, inshallah. Okay, Shaykh. Question Hadith for 7 still page 80. How to respect elders and show mercy to young ones who seem to view us lower because we have less than them in wealth, children, and reputation.
Right. So like the first question that we answered. So this question is about how do we show mercy and respect elders and show mercy to the young when they look down on us. So the elders and the young, younger than me, older than me, but they look down on me because I have less than them. How do I show them respect and how should I show them mercy? So first of all, remember that we said about the first question. it will be hard to show them respect and be kind to them if you're offended by what they say. If you take it seriously. If you take it seriously, if it's hurtful, it's really hard to be nice to them. But if you consider that whatever they're saying, whatever their assessment of you is false, because, as you said, they think that they are better than me because of their money and their children and their wealth and their education. But none of these things are enough reason to think that somebody is better than another. So you understand that their assessment is wrong. It still hurts, but it's wrong. So if their assessment is wrong, they deserve your compassion, because they're obviously on a path that Allah hates. So what happens when you see someone, who's committing a sin publicly? What do you feel? You hate that sin, but you feel also some compassion towards them, because if you don't save them, if you don't advise them, if you don't take care of them, what happens to them? Allah may punish them for that sin. So that person is guilty of a sin that is called what? Pride, kibr. So that you should feel compassionate towards them, because you want Allah to save them from that sin, even though it's directed against you, but you want Allah to save them from that sin. How do you change them? By being nice and kind to them. So now you become what? It's like the tables have turned. Rather than you taking what they're saying and feeling bad about it, you taking what they're saying and feeling bad for them. Not for yourself, for them. And if you feel bad for them, and if you've managed to do this, rise above what they say. So when somebody says something bad to you, what does it do? So this is them and this is you. They say something bad to you, especially when they want to put you down. You feel lower. But if what they say causes you to think that, no, they are low because of that sin, and I need to take care of them and rescue them, you're not going to care so much about what they're saying. In fact, you want to save them from their own words and their own thoughts. That's how you can, inshallah, show respect to the elders, by understanding that they don't know any better, or younger. They don't know any better. They need someone to teach them. They need somebody to be kind to them. They need somebody to show them a better way to behave. So maybe that is me. So this is how you do it. Okay? By taking away the power of their words, or the power of what they say, and emptying it of content, meaning whatever they're saying is meaningless, has no impact on me. So I need to take care of them. That's one. The second thing is to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give you patience, because it's not easy, especially if that person is really around you. Ask Allah to give you patience with that, and wisdom to know how, as I said, to simply feel bad for them because they are guilty of that sin, and ask to yourself, how is it that I can help them? And it's by being kind.
Oh, okay. So this is the merciful lens that we have to use, that Rasulullah asked us to do, right? Okay.
Absolutely. It's just to look at everybody around you as much as you can with mercy, and seeing them even when they commit mistakes, right? Especially when they commit mistakes, people who are in need of your help. So even though they hurt you, but they need your help.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, next question, share, page 86. Sometimes we feel so depressed for keep failing for earn enough. Sometimes we feel so depressed for keep failing to earn enough wealth to survive in a challenging economy. How not to keep forgetting about death while dealing with that test? Okay.
So first of all, so two things. Someone is saying, I keep feeling depressed because I'm financially not successful. Money, but I'm not successful. So I keep feeling depressed. So how, the second thing in this question is how not to forget about death while dealing with it. First is feeling depressed because you're not financially successful. You shouldn't. And I know it's maybe easier. If I say you shouldn't, it's not going to stop you from feeling depressed. But at least you should know that you shouldn't. Because whether you are financially successful or not, that doesn't say anything about you. That doesn't say anything about you. Success, financial success or failure, does not mean personal success or failure. That's very different. Very smart. And again, this is something that
Shaykh,
all of us. Yes.
Sorry, Shaykh, I think you need to repeat because that's been intermittent.
Okay, inshallah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that don't consider that your financial success or failure is so you could be, as I said, hardworking, intelligent, smart, wise, yet financially not doing well. It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had designed it and decreed it this way. So it doesn't say anything about you. So separate between you as a person and us. They're not the same. And remember that many of the prophets of Allah and the pious, they were not rich. Right? So it could be that Allah Azza wa Jalla had chosen that for you. It doesn't mean that you will be poor for the rest of your life. No, but just think about that. It shouldn't make you depressed. Try, and the consequences are with Allah Azza wa Jalla. Don't pay attention to it. You try, and if you're successful, depressed because of money. Money is going to come and money is going to go. You're going to earn it and then you're going to lose it. Allah decrees it, you'll have it. Allah decrees it and it's going to go away. So don't attach your happiness to money. And don't think that your achievements, like worldly achievements, is what is going to define you. So that's one. The second thing is how not to forget about death. Well, you need to remind yourself of it, because if you don't remind yourself, you're not going to remember. You can't simply say, I will remember death. Remembering it in your salah, right? By attending Islamic talks and lectures, by reading Islamic books, and by making dua. Meaning actively you need to remind yourself. That's why you pray. That's why you read the Quran. That's why the Quran is called, among its names, al-dhikr, the reminder. Because it will remind you each day. That's the purpose of salah as well. So this is how you will do it. If you don't, you're not going to remember. So you need to actively remind yourself each day. Inshallah.
Shit, the line has been a little bit bad. Okay. How do we do?
I don't know if it's more from my end here or is it Zoom, because I can hear you.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah.
Okay, because someone messaged me as well. Few messaged me. Okay, but I will try again to remind you, share when the line is not good. Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry about this, share. Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay. Share. Page 78 of Hadith 7. When adulthood stressed me out and I can't get out from low iman, I tend to check out 90s songs to comfort. How do I stop following that desire?
Okay, inshallah. So when you're stressed out, okay, you basically don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. So you're going and you're listening to songs, we say. So how to stop doing this? Now, first of all, if you need to break, if there is that dependence, so we're going to talk about music. And by the way, I'm going to be talking about music, inshallah, tomorrow in that weekly halaqah about adab. So tomorrow is just basically about music. So listen to that, inshallah, tomorrow if music is an issue. First of all, whatever dependence I have, and I want to break that dependence. So I find myself immediately, whenever I'm depressed or whenever I'm sad, I'm doing something that Allah hates. I got to break that cycle, because that is a habit that I have. So I want to break that habit. How do I break that habit? By creating an alternative to it, by planning ahead and saying that when I am depressed, when I am tired, when I'm this and when I'm that, what I will do is I'll go here and I'll do that and I'll read this, I'll talk to this person. So creating alternatives for yourself, so your habit is not the only alternative, is not the only path. So charting different paths. So if I am depressed and I'm tired, okay, one option is I can listen to music. What is another option I can do? You think about it now. What is something else I can do? Maybe there's a friend I can talk to. Maybe I can go outside. Maybe I can try reading the Quran. Maybe I can do dua. Maybe I can pray. Maybe I can read and try, right? This, and ask Allah for support as you are trying. Maybe you will find that Allah Azza wa Jal will help you with all of this. Okay? And will give you an alternative. Now, of course, focus on music itself is not helpful, because music is not an answer. And I know that when you listen to it, especially when you are referencing a specific era, it may bring memories, right? Maybe like sweet memories, will energize you, will change your mood. So that's what that thing is doing. But you understand that that is really not the solution, because whatever you are going through, this is just a temporary fix. What really changes your mood is what can deal with your problem if there is a problem. So you want to address that problem if there is a problem, or if you just simply need entertainment. Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you more than one way, inshallah, to entertain yourself, to change your mood, to change the scenery around you so that you could feel better, inshallah. So don't trap yourself in one thing and only one thing that you think that's the only thing that can help and feel trapped by it. To say, no, Allah Azza wa Jalla did give alternatives. You just need to explore those alternatives, inshallah. And maybe when you start exploring, you'll find that they are much more helpful than that thing that you used to think is the only medicine, is the only remedy. You'll find other remedies, inshallah. So that's one. And if this is something that, if music is something that Allah hates, it really can be something helpful. Because you're trying, think of it like somebody who has a headache. Taking a medicine, but yes, that medicine may take that headache away, but it's causing another illness. So you wouldn't take it, because you're knowing that I'm trying to treat one medicine or one illness, which is, let's call headache. If whatever you're bringing to your mind and to your heart, that's not really something that is going to help. You want something that Allah Azza wa Jalla approves of, and something that is actually helpful. So the alternatives, inshallah, try to think about them in advance. If I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling bad and miserable and not in the mood, then I'll do this, instead of listening to music.
Shay? I cannot hear you. Oh, wait. Shay, I cannot hear you, Shay. Can you, okay. Oh.
Just trying to see that okay. I don't know if it's better or not now.
Yeah, okay now.
Is it better?
Okay, it's okay now.
Okay.
Okay.
I know, is it stronger? Is the audio better or the same?
It's okay now?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Let's continue. Let's see, inshallah.
Okay, bismillah.
Yeah. It keeps giving me the message, your speaker is not working, so I don't know what it says. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So next question is Shaykh. If we feel bored, unmotivated, uninspired to pursue anything in life, what should we check on?
Now, bored, unmotivated, uninspired to pursue everything in life, it depends on your goals, right? Depends on what is it that, what stage of life are you in? Okay? What stage in life are you in? What's happening in your life? That could be the reason why you're bored and unmotivated. So it really, that question is very general. So first of all, we need to understand, what is it that you have achieved in life? What is it that, what goals do you have? Maybe you say, I don't have any goals. Maybe you're going through a problem of some sort. Maybe you're depressed because of an incident that took place. It's hard to tell, but let's try to say here that you feel unmotivated, uninspired, and bored. What should you do? Ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give you a purpose in life. Ask Allah to give you a purpose in life, to reveal a purpose for you. So maybe you don't have anything that you want to do at this moment. Maybe a lot of us are like this. Maybe a lot of us are saying to themselves, I don't know why I'm alive. I just wake up and sleep every day. I'm just going through the motions. I don't know really why I'm alive. If that's the case, ask Allah Azza wa Jal to reveal a purpose in your life. There is already a purpose. I can tell you that you are working towards Jannah. But for some people that is so distant and far, they can't really translate that into something that they're doing every day. It is actually enough in itself, because all of us are going to die and you're going to stand before Allah and you're going to be either going to heaven or hell. That's the purpose that all of us are working towards. And you want to, channel everything in your life, or most of what you have in your life, towards that end. But if you need more, something that is more concrete within your life, ask Allah Azza wa Jal to reveal a purpose, to give it to you, to inject enthusiasm into your life, to give you motivation, to give you a passion, and keep asking Allah for it, and start exploring. And don't just sit back, and in your dua also, don't just ask and sit back. If you're really serious about it and you want that to change, make that dua, and then go on and try to think, try to explore, go outside and ask. And maybe then with your pursuit and with your dua, you'll find that Allah Azza wa Jal will reveal something. Okay? I think that if you are reading especially the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and you know the lives of the prophets of Allah, if you understand the lives of the pious predecessors as Salaf from among the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, read their stories, read their biographies, you'll find inspiration in them. You'll find that they didn't sit back and say, what is it that I'm just simply unmotivated, I'm simply uninspired. You find that they had significant things that they wanted to do. And they had projects, and they had ambition. Okay, an ambition not because they want to prove themselves, an ambition coming out of what? A goal, a noble goal that they wanted to pursue, and they did pursue. So that's the thing that is going to inspire you. So look at the biographies especially, and it sometimes could be even just as an entry point. If you don't have those biographies, or you find yourself so uninspired you can't even read those biographies, even if you read a biography of a successful non-Muslim, but read their biography, that could be the inspiration that you will need to understand that you only have a few days left on this earth, a few number of breaths that you're going to take, few opportunities for you to do something with your life. You cannot waste it. So find the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you want to do, and do it. Even if it's something small, but be passionate about something. Be producing something. So Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he says, I would hate to see someone sitting idly, doing nothing, not even the hereafter or the dunya. Meaning that you can't just sit without doing something positive and constructive, whether it is for your next life or for this life. So try, inshallah, to make dua, read, and I think, inshallah, you will find something that will inspire you, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, Shaykh, question number 6. How do we ensure that every pursuit of our goals or project is sincerely for Allah? Most of the time, we do certain things because we want to feel or seen as someone useful or beneficial.
Right. So you can't have, this is how do we make sure that every pursuit of ours and every goal is for Allah Azza wa Jal. It's, at this stage at least, it's impossible for you to have all of your pursuits and all your projects and everything that you do for the sake of Allah. That's impossible. So again, be realistic about what is it that you want to accomplish. Everything for Allah Azza wa Jal, that is impossible. You can't do this. But at least what we can do is how can we make sure that some of what we're doing is for Allah Azza wa Jal, and that we can continue on the path of doing more and more to Allah for Allah Azza wa Jal until maybe one point in our life, a lot of what we're doing is for the sake of Allah. Not everything, because I don't imagine that at this stage we can have everything that we're doing be for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, meaning that you sleep for the sake of Allah, eat for the sake of Allah, wake up for the sake of Allah, sleep for the sake of Allah. It's possible in theory, in practice, no, not yet. So how to make sure that what we're doing in our projects are for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal? We sometimes do things because we want to feel or seen as someone who's useful and beneficial. Now, distinguish between two things, something that is religious and something that is worldly. The religious things, they have to be for the sake of Allah. If not, they are sin. Fasting and praying and zakah and reading of the Quran, those have to be for the sake of Allah. Worldly things, they don't have to be for the sake of Allah. You got me? It's not sinful. Okay? But you can do it because you want to be beneficial. You can do it because you want to feel good about yourself. You want somebody to say, hey, you did a good job. You can do it for that. That's allowed. You're not required to have an intention, a religious intention behind that. But if you have a religious intention, it blesses your work and it becomes a ibadah. So how do I turn my worldly efforts and projects into a ibadah? It's all based on intention and consciousness, being aware that what I'm doing, this can be a ibadah. So when you're closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, like really closer to Allah by that religious side, that you are fasting, you are praying, you are reading the Quran, so your heart is close to Allah, then that is going to go and invade or attract, go and attract other actions into what pleases Allah. So if I'm, for instance, doing my adhkar before I go to bed, and doing my adhkar as soon as I wake up from bed, then when I'm doing this and I'm now conscious of Allah, I'll start thinking, no one has to remind me, because I'm reading the Quran, I'm start be thinking that my sleep resembles death. So when I'm going to bed at times, I'd be thinking about, subhanallah, this death is by Allah, this sleep, slumber, as a reminder from Allah Azza wa Jal that we're going to die. So that sleep in itself becomes a reminder for you. Why? Because you are reading the Quran and you're close to Allah Azza wa Jal. And then you will say, I'm going to sleep now because I want to wake up in time for Fajr. Wake up in time to go to Fajr and pray. Because I want to, do something that pleases Allah Azza wa Jal right after. And I can't do it if I don't sleep. So I'm sleeping for that. That becomes ibadah. So you go to school and you already are close to Allah Azza wa Jal. You're studying. And as you're studying something, in science, something in, in the humanities, and you're thinking to yourself, how can I use this to please Allah? Why? Because you are already close. So this is how it be done. You can't force it. Can't tell you, if I tell you today, make your consumption of food all for the sake of Allah. By how? By simply, whenever you're going to eat, think that I'm eating because it's going to help you worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Well, if you're not worshiping Allah after or doing something that pleases Allah after, what I'm saying is meaningless. And you're not going to remember it. You remember it now, you'll forget it tomorrow. But if there is already a foundation of taqwa and ibadah already, and your heart is all close to Allah, then you remember that and you'll be able to do it. And even if no one reminds you, you'll remember.
because you would want to devote more of your time to Allah Azza wa Jal. So increase your taqwa and increase your ibadah and increase your iman, then other projects will become for Allah Azza wa Jal. You would want them to, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, question number 7, Shaykh. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. If one is confused of her strengths and goals to achieve, can she simply intend to do all kinds of good deeds whenever opportunities arise for his sake without being specific?
Yeah, so this is easy. Someone is confused about her strength and goals. So she simply intends to do all kinds of good deeds whenever the opportunities arise. Yes. You don't know what is it that you can do. You don't know if you're strong here and skilled there. So your intention is wherever is pleasing to Allah, I'm going to do it whenever the opportunity arises. Absolutely, you can. This is an easy question.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Page 78. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Young age lifts a person so very quickly. How do we as parents guide and give them advice with wisdom so that they would truly comprehend what it really means and stop wasting their precious time and start doing something beneficial and important? Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh.
Okay. So how do we guide our kids and convince them to use their times wisely, especially that time departs very quickly, and stop wasting time? So let's say first of all, we have to remember as parents that we as kids, as young people, we also wasted time. Now, I don't know if we wasted time as much as our kids are wasting time, but remember that you also wasted time. Why am I saying this? Because sometimes when we reach that age and we look at our children and remember what we have done and we want the best for them, we try to push and we push them way too much beyond what we would ourselves like if we were at their age. So I just want you to remember your own self at that age and not push them beyond what is reasonable, right? Beyond what is reasonable. So I don't know exactly how much time they're wasting and if it is what they're wasting is reasonable or unreasonable. And if our request is reasonable or not, I do not know. But I'm asking inshallah to think about it within reason, that I cannot demand so much from them. And I know that if it was me at their age, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. So understand their limitation, understand the needs of that age, understand that yes, some wasting of time is going to be natural at that age. But when it's excessive, when they have no goals, that's the problem, right? So just be balanced about it and don't push so much because we're anxious. Okay, we can see what they cannot see, but they're not at an age where they can see it for themselves. So that's one. Second, what's the best advice they can give them? As I said previously, it is you. It's how you behave. If you're wasting time, they're wasting it. You can't say you sit watching TV and tell them to study or read. That's not it. You can't. Or you can't be a person who has been doing this for a while, and now all of a sudden you notice the problem, and now you suddenly want to switch. Oh, no, okay, now there is no TV. Now all of us are going to read. No one is used to reading, including you. But now all of us need to shift. Now it's very hard for people to listen to you because there's no habit. But if from a young age they saw you eager to take advantage of your time and not waste it, that is gonna imprint on them. That is gonna, they're gonna copy that. So think about it, inshallah. How you are also determines how they are. So model that behavior. And again, we don't know how old these kids are. Okay, in their teens, they're gonna listen less and less to you. But model that behavior. At any age, model that behavior. That's one. Second, give them, the stories and the biographies of people who had used their time wisely. Like this is an example. It's not just simply me telling you, you need to be like this and you need to behave like that. No, this is what other people have said. The head of that company, the head of this institution, the head of this scientist, this pioneer. This is how they use their time, because that's very inspiring. So find those stories. Find those stories within Islam, and find those stories among non-Muslims that who could inspire your kids to think about their lives in different way, and life in different way, to think about setting goals, to think about planning for the future, to think about contribution. So find that, and that inshallah will be helpful. And talk to them, not scream, but talk to them about kind of what their goals may be. What is it? What passion do they have? And how could they invest in that passion? And encourage that and be around them, right? So in a sense, not simply preaching and yelling and saying, do this and do that, and look at how this person and that person and what they were doing, and you're doing nothing. That comparison not really helpful. But ask them, what do you want to be in the future? What is it that you would like to do? What is your passion? What is your hobby? Would you like to work on something? Whatever project it may be. And if they say yes, show interest in it. If it's helpful, if it's good, show interest in it, and try to be beside them as they are exploring that thing they're interested in. This is how you do it, inshallah, Allahu a'lam. So, and make dua for them, right? So for all of these questions, if I forget it, remember it. For all of these questions, dua. So make dua for them. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless them and to put whatever good qualities you want in them, to put that in them, and talk to them about other people, other examples, give them those books, tell them those stories, and try to sort of inspire them to pursue their passion, so that they could see for themselves what is it that they want to do, and they would do it, inshallah.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, inshallah, Shaykh. This number 9, question number 9 related to your answer, Shaykh, maybe suitable for the parents. Salam, Shaykh. Most of the time we have so much time. Where do we begin to stop wasting time that we have and be productive? What did Rasulullah SAW advise us to do on to be productive?
Right. And remember now, I was just reading the question. He said there was a book, and I don't know if it's in English or not. He says, قيمة الزمن عند العلماء, sort of the value of time for the scholars. The value of time for the scholars. قيمة الزمن عند العلماء. And it's a book where the author, rahimahullah, had collected many stories and examples from the Salaf and from the scholars of how they've saved time, how they were eager not to waste their time. I mean, to an extent where a person would sacrifice meals just so they could read more and write more. And that is a person who really is eager, right? Not to waste any minute. We are not at that level, but it's very inspiring to read that, or to read similar stories, because this is how you'll begin to understand that, yeah, every minute counts and every hour counts. Now, as I said, we're not at that level, and our kids are not at that level, but maybe slowly we can just get closer to it. So how is it, that we have so much time? How do we go and stop wasting our time? Is to think about goals each day. Like, let me ask all of us, inshallah, what is your life goal? Your life should have a goal or goals. I don't mean, I'm going to buy a house, a car, and this and that. That's good to have, okay, because then you can start, work for it. But religiously, what is your life goal? You should have one. Okay? Now, it could be, I want to memorize the Quran. I want to read this book. I want to build a masjid. I want whatever. But and if you don't have it, start thinking about it. A life goal that I'm going to be working towards. Now, if this life goal is grand, is something that is big, and the scholars, by the way, they had those. I want to write a commentary for Al-Bukhari. That will take me what? When you see like how long it took to collect Sahih Al-Bukhari, decade or plus, to write a commentary on Sahih Al-Bukhari, decade plus, talking about a project where it says, I'm going to be working on this book for the next 10, 20 years. You got it? So what is your project? So if you have a project like that, then every day or every month or every year is a step towards that project. So when you have a project, when you want to reach some place, then each day will become one step closer to it. Then every day we're doing something. It doesn't mean that you're filling every single minute and every single hour with something. It doesn't. And for us at this age, for most of us, that's impossible. But what we can do is that every day I'm doing something. This is how we become productive. So ask yourself, what is your life goal? And then plan to try to reach it by doing something every day. Break it down into smaller steps. And each day, I'm taking one extra small step towards it. One small step towards it. Say, for instance, if my goal, inshallah, for this year is I want to read Sahih al-Bukhari or Sahih Muslim. So I look at it. So that means that every day I'm reading 20 pages. So every day I'm reading 20 pages. May not look like much, but at the end of the year, I finish the whole book. Right? So this is how you plan. This is where you, and when you are able to reach goals, some goals that will inspire you to have others as well. This is how we become productive. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, he's talking, how did the Prophet advise us to be productive? He spoke ﷺ about how free time is something that is wasted. Okay? And that you should take advantage of it. And that you'll be asked about your life when you meet Allah Azza wa Jal. You'll be asked about your life, about your the resources, the bounties that Allah had given you. How did you use them? So that free time that I have is not free. It's called free, but it's not free. It's the most precious thing that you have. It's not free. Because that free time, if you can use it wisely, you can turn that time into money. Time is money, isn't it? So time is never free. Time is money. And if you can take and use it wisely, time is good deeds, which is actually far more precious than money. If you can transform, right? Think of it as currency exchange. If you can put time and get out good deeds, you can use those good deeds as currency in the hereafter. Then that means that this time is never free. It's the most precious thing that you have. So this is what the Prophet ﷺ had talked about it, that every day could be the day, or every minute could be the minute, where you could say something that could be the thing that saves you. So that's what makes it precious. So set a life goal for yourself, set an annual goal for yourself, and work towards it, and plan where you're doing every day something towards that goal, inshallah. Then you'll find, inshallah, that you're being more productive.
Alhamdulillah. Shaykh, question number 10. Salam Shaykh. Which stories of the pious predecessors that we must read in your opinion? Appreciate if Shaykh can share title of the book and author. Thank you.
No.
Somehow these questions.
So I mean,
somehow.
I'm sorry.
Somehow these questions, they are related to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. So what stories? Now, I don't have specific, I know that, for instance, Darus Salam had series of books. It's not really a series, but several books on the life of like Al-Bukhari, Sufyan al-Thawri, maybe Al-Awza'i, maybe some of the even contemporary scholars. So Darus Salam had as a publisher, probably not the only publisher. So look at the lives of, if you have books for the lives of the Sahaba, okay, a book for the lives of the Tabi'een, Hasan al-Basri, Sa'id ibn Musayyab, ibn Sirin, similar like that. And then the scholars like Sufyan al-Thawri, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, al-Bukhari, who else they could have talked about, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn al-Qayyim, or also contemporary scholars. Look at those stories. Those are the ones that you should read about, because when you read those stories, it inspires you. It takes whatever we're talking about that looks theory and abstract, do this and do that, and shows you the person who has done it. Shows you how they've done it. Showed you that they've struggled, but also that they've overcame that struggle. So it just gets translated into and through a person's life so that you can see it. So those are the ones, inshallah, that come to mind. Just explore, see what other publishers have had published on those issues, inshallah, and share it with others. If others know titles of books, inshallah, share it. I know you have a shared platform, WhatsApp and similar platforms. share it inshallah so that you can benefit each other. You say, I found this book, I found that book. And if you inshallah can help, you'll get a reward of everybody who's reading it inshallah, and everybody who will benefit from it inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, the last question for Hadith 7, Shaykh. How does one achieve the strong feeling when praying that it is her last prayer and give her very best for it? Barakallahu feek.
Nah. So, I mean, by increasing your iman in general, how do you achieve that feeling? It's really by increasing your iman in general, by slowly increasing your iman. Because again, you're not going to remember. Right? We all, and this is a statement from the Prophet ﷺ where it says, وَصَلِّ صَلَاةَ مُوَدِّعٍ, and pray as if it is your last, or someone who is bidding farewell. We pray, like, you know, since we've heard that and we've actually applied it, we're not going to remember that. So how do you remember it? You remember it by kind of raising the level of your, by praying more and being more conscious of your salah, by reading Quran more, by staying away from the haram, by because that salah has touched your heart. You always remember that if I pray like this, I feel the beauty of salah. So later on, when you remember, I want to feel like that again, you'll pray like that again. Then you'll pray like that again. So it will be more common for you and me to pray like this. But it has to become what, as the fruit of a general progression towards Allah, you'll remember it. You'll remember it now for the next salah. You'll forget it for the one after. So progression towards Allah Azza wa Jalla on every front. And even if there are setbacks, you jump back. So when you are closer to Allah, then that is easy to practice. It will come to you. And the next time you hear it, it will be applied, inshallah. So now it'll be like on all fronts.
So for different people, might be different case here, sure?
It depends, of course, it depends. If you're at an advanced level of iman, it'd be easier. If you are struggling with your salah, some people may struggle with the salah more than others. So it's different. It's different. Some people may, Allah Azza wa Jalla may give them the opportunity, right, to be closer in salah more than others. It's just simply that you have that. You may have it but not use it. But some people may be able to concentrate better than others. So yes, the struggles are different.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, we completed Hadith 7. Now we move to Hadith 8, the wall and the heart. First question.
Inshallah.
When I find myself wanting, I do so many voluntary prayers and plead with Allah for His help. But when things come to pass, I do the bare minimum. Am I being sincere to Allah?
Okay, inshallah. Okay, so for anybody who's on Instagram, in about 20 seconds, inshallah, the Instagram stream is going to stop because they limit us to 1 hour. The remainder moments will continue, inshallah, on Facebook, and it will be uploaded, inshallah, to YouTube. So in about 5 seconds, we're going to say salam to you. So Instagram, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You can join us on Facebook if you want. Going back to this question. I do a lot of voluntary prayers on salah when I want something from Allah Azza wa Jal, but when it happens, I stop. Okay? It's weakness of iman. So you want to think about it in this way. Think about that Allah Azza wa Jal, when He describes the non-believers and the polytheists, He describes them like that. Describes them as people who will praise when He gives them, they turn their backs on Him and they associate others with them. So you don't want that quality. Why do I say it's a weakness of Iman? It's because I'm only praying when I want something. And I'm only making dua when I want something. When I have it, this thing, I'm not praying as much. And I'm not making dua because I don't feel that I'm in need. Whereas in fact, you're always in need. You don't need this new job as much. We think we don't need this new house as much. This is when we make dua. I don't even need to be cured of my sickness as much. You make dua, but I'm saying you don't need it as much as to be saved from hellfire. But yet when we think that, oh, I am healthy now, then I don't need Allah, whereas the thing that you really need from Allah, you don't know if you've gotten yet. So that means that your ibadah should be there all the time, because what you need from Allah is there all the time, which is to be saved from hellfire and to be given Jannah. Plus, even if Allah gives you health now and you're healthy now, what about tomorrow or the day after? Don't you need to make dua and pray so that Allah will save you and your children tomorrow and a week from now and a year from now? Yeah. So the remedy for that is to think about what you really need from Allah, and it is greater than this world. That's what you really need. It's greater, much greater than this world. And even if you need this world, if you have it right now, you may lose it tomorrow. So you need to keep asking Allah for it. And your iman and your ibadah shouldn't be dependent on what Allah gives you and denies you. It should be because Allah deserves it, because you want to be close to Allah and live your next life. This is how it should be. So not insincerity, unless by insincerity we mean weakness of Iman. Yes, it is a sign of a weakness of Iman.
Okay. Shared. Second question, page 93. What are the common sources of shaitan's whispering, making us fearing poverty too much?
So the shaitan whispers to threaten us with poverty. Now, maybe you mean by it the common methods, not the sources, the common methods of the shaitan using to make us fear poverty is by basically, they're common. I mean, by common, I mean that experiences them, that we almost don't need to explain them. The shaitan comes and tells you you're going to be fired. You're not going to be hired. There's not going to be any job. If you're going to spend, you're not going to have enough money. You don't have enough money for your kids. You can't give zakah and sadaqah and waste your money. Your money is yours. It doesn't belong to anybody else. If you spend, it will decrease. There will be no barakah in it, etc., etc. Basically that, whatever you have, you're going to lose. And you're not going to get anything more. So start collecting and don't give away. And if there's an opportunity to earn from haram, so that you can have more. That's basically what the shaitan is doing. So maybe the details are tiny bit different from one person to the other, but the whole idea is the same. You're not going to have, and you're going to lose. Whatever you have, you're going to lose it. And whatever you're seeking, you're not going to get it. So what he wants you to do what? To pursue it and get it through haram. Worry always about money, so that you're always just focused on it. And if there's a door for haram to earn money, that you'd earn it from there. That's basically what it is. Inshallah.
So the moment we recognize that we have that, what should we do, Shaykh?
Right. So you need to recognize that, of course, seek Allah's protection from the shaitan. When you see that, you can feel it inside of you. I'm worried about this, worried about that. Seek Allah's protection from the shaitan. Like truly seek. Comfort your heart with the fact that your provisions are guaranteed by Allah Azza wa Jal. And no amount of worrying about this and that is going to bring you more. So your provision is guaranteed. Allah has written that down. And pursuing what Allah loves and staying away from what hates, worrying about it does not increase it. You got it? So as Allah provides for the animals, Allah provides for you. And if you rely upon Allah, He'll be sufficient for you. And if you truly give your heart and say, Ya Allah, I rely upon you. I'm going to work, I'm going to apply, I'm going to save, but I'm also reliant on you, not on my money. He says, then if you rely upon Allah, Allah will give you money. So you don't need the shaitan to frighten you, because the one who created the shaitan is guaranteed that he'll provide for you. Remind yourself of these things, and they are in the Quran, and they are in the Hadith. Remind yourself of these things, and that will comfort your heart. Because there's a promise. Allah promises you of His favors and His bounties. So know that the promise of Allah supersedes any of the plots and the whisper of the shaitan. Don't believe the shaitan. Believe Allah Azza wa Jalla, that when you ask Him, He'll give you. Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Shaykh, question number 4, related. Assalamualaikum, Shaykh. Page 93. How do we know we are unlocking the destined provisions and chasing after wealth?
Right. So these are really two different things. You want to really be saying how, I'm talking to the one who asked the question, how do we unlock our destined provisions and not be chasing after wealth? Your provision, right? How do you seek it? You seek it, and this is how you unlock, right? There's mafatih al-rizq, okay? The keys for provisions or for Allah's bounties. By asking Allah Azza wa Jal, by obeying Him, by spending, by working halal, right? This is how you pursue it. This is how you unlock. Okay? And there may be some I failed to remember, but asking Allah and working halal, not haram, and spending for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, right? These are some of the things, and having tawakkul on Allah, these are some of the things that will bring the bounties of Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? Now, how do we make sure that we're not chasing? Make sure by, first of all, that why are you collecting money? If you're collecting money just to be wealthy, just so that you would feel better about yourself, then that is what? And condemnable. Just so that I'd be wealthy and feel better about myself and feel better than other people, that's condemnable. That should be criticized. If I'm doing it to support my family, then that's a good intention. If I'm doing it so that I can give for the sake of Allah and do what pleases Allah with it, that I'm doing it so that I don't have to ask other people so I can pay off my debts, that is admirable. So the reason, and if I'm pursuing whatever I'm pursuing, financial projects, is it taking me away from Allah? Is my salah suffering? Is my ibadah suffering? Is my taqwa suffering? Is everything about money now? Then I'm chasing after. But if my life still has a balance where I'm working, but I have enough for Allah Azza wa Jalla, and I still have this taqwa in me, where my taqwa is dominant, if not the pursuit of wealth, then I'm fine. If the pursuit of wealth is dominant and my taqwa is suffering, then no. I need to stop and recheck why I'm doing what I'm doing, and if I'm doing it.
Okay. Inshallah. Question 5, page 94. What type of Sharia compliant financing is recommended to start a business to avoid dealing with oppressive employers who have caused job insecurity to many workers?
So Sharia compliant financing is asking, or she's asking, to start a business. What type is available? Now, not really a financial institution to own, to know what is available.
The line,
it's not clear.
Yeah, Can you, sorry, can you repeat it?
So what I'm saying is that the Sharia compliant financing that could help. One we can say is simply you ask for investors. Now you can go to Islamic institutions. I don't know what Islamic institutions are available and what kind of help they give. But I'm just speculating that the types of things that could be helpful is one, you find investors who are willing to or believe in your project and they become partners. That's Sharia compliant financing. Or you borrow money, right, from an institution where it does not require interest, whether it's institutions or individuals, and they don't require interest. Financially sound alternative. But I'm thinking that it's probably will be an investment or an investor who believes in your project and decides, well, I want to invest in it because I believe in it and I'm gonna get some of the profits back. Probably that's the only thing that I can think of. Subhanallah, you don't know if your idea is good and your intention is good, inshallah, and you keep praying to Allah Azza wa Jal, ask Allah Azza wa Jal and then start asking people around. So maybe Allah Azza wa Jal will bless you and open these doors so that you'll find out a way. If Allah wants this to happen, it's going to happen. If Allah wants it to happen, it's going to happen. You'll find the person or the way to be able to finance it. So that keep making dua for it, especially as you said, you want to free yourself and have an intention of freeing others, not only yourself. That Allah Azza wa Jal could bless this, where you'll be able to employ you. So have that as an intention. So maybe if your intention is to benefit people, not only yourself, to benefit people, and knock on doors and ask, okay, who can help with this? Who can help with that? Pitch your idea. Who knows? Subhanallah. Maybe Allah will find a way.
But how do we differentiate from begging people and knocking door for help for, looking for alternative, a halal way of alternative?
How do we differentiate between that and begging people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they may look the same, right? If you're looking for investors, but begging is basically what I think of. Begging is someone who simply is asking for money. Money. That's it. But what we're talking about here is someone who's coming to you with a project and a vision. Is coming to you for investment or donation. It doesn't matter. But if somebody is coming to me, let's say, and is saying that I have is what I'm asking for myself, right? But this is here I'm asking for a project. I'm asking for something bigger than me, right? So when that's the case, inshallah, even if you are persistent, it's not yours until one of them until one of them realizes, one of the people realizes that this is a great project and I should invest it, and then you will receive those funds. So that's the difference between the two.
Okay, inshallah. So make it a project or something beneficial for them, yeah, inshallah. Okay, yeah. Question number 6, page 95. COVID-19 pushes me to start earning income as a sustainable business owner so people around me and myself can worship Allah comfortably. But fitna of wealth scares me. What should I do?
So the fitna of wealth, she's saying, scares me. What should I do to protect myself from it, especially that I'm trying to earn more, to give myself stability, even especially in light of COVID-19 income? financial stability. Now, if some anything, you ask Allah for protection. So if this really scares you, then you make it part of your regular dua for Allah to protect you from the fitna of wealth and poverty. Fitnatul ghina wa fitnatul faqr. Ya Allah, protect me from the fitna of wealth and the fitna of poverty. And you make that a constant dua. That's one. The second thing is to set goals for why you're doing this. So if you're saying
here, can you after the word goal?
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat what you said after the word goal? You said
well, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember after the word goal.
You mentioned,
I'll repeat it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I'm just trying to see. Okay. So income as a sustainable. Okay. Around me and myself can worship Allah here, right? So I said, set a goal for yourself. Like, why are you pursuing wealth? So here he said the goal here is that so I and people around me can worship Allah comfortably. Remember this. Yeah, you've said that this is my goal. Or if you're somebody else, why are you pursuing? If I'm pursuing wealth to worship Allah comfortably and I stop worshiping Allah, did I not compromise that goal? So here, before I have this money, I used to do this, that could things that please Allah. Now after this money, these things. So if your worship has decreased, okay.
Yeah.
If your worship has decreased, yeah, I can see the comment.
Yeah. Maybe
yeah.
istighfar.
I don't really know why. If it's on my end or not, I really have no idea.
But sometimes maybe it's the line of between countries is beyond our.
Possible. Yeah, possible. I have no idea. I would recommend, inshallah, for everybody, like go back once this is uploaded, inshallah. Go back and listen to it, because maybe we not have these many intermittent disconnections. So go back to the recording, inshallah, later on. Maybe inshallah will be better.
Yeah.
We'll try to do our best now, inshallah. That's
Today's training.
So
today's training for patience.
Yes, inshallah. And I hope it's clear in the recording, inshallah. So make dua, make sure that your goal is sound, make sure that you have not changed as you acquire money, and then plan on giving away sadaqah. Okay, so as you earn, give sadaqah away. As you earn, give sadaqah away, so you're not tempted. And maybe finally, if you have trusted advisors, friends, family members, tell them to give you honest advice. If I've changed, let me know. All right? If I change, let me know. As I'm earning this money. If this money is distracting me, taking me away from Allah, let me know. So those advisors and friends will be able to help you, because they could see things that you cannot see.
Okay, great tips. Okay, Shaykh, question number 7, page 97. Money brings with it power and ability for greater sin. Can we say the same on having more children without understanding the need to do family planning to create a balanced family?
Okay, so first of all, generally, right, money and children without necessarily having more children.
Shaykh, can you repeat? Can you repeat that when you mentioned more children, and then after that?
Yeah. So I'm saying that money and children in general are a cause for fitna, not necessarily more children. Money and children. إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة. Says Allah Azza wa Jalla says that your money, your wealth, and your children are fitna. Right? So are they fitna? Because they can take you, have the potential, like your money, they have the potential to distract you and take you away from Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's why they are a fitna. Now, now more children can do that. Yes, they can. Not necessarily that they can, but yes, they can. It just depends on it's going to take you away from Allah, then yeah, you don't need more money. If you are going to have more children and those more children are going to be fitna for you, then yeah, you don't have more children. But then at the same time, the Prophet ﷺ did urge us to have children within reason, especially nowadays, right? Within reason nowadays, because it's not simply just let's have as many
Shaykh, I'm so sorry. You were saying Rasulullah SAW urged and then become distorted.
Yeah. So the Prophet ﷺ urged us to have more children. Takatharu, right? Have more children. Right? But at the same time, within reason, within my ability to take care of them. I can't have to raise them. I can't support them, and I cannot raise them, and I cannot teach them, and I cannot take care of them. I can't do that. I can't have the number of children that I can take care of. If I can take care of you, subhanAllah, of 5, children, 6 children, of 7, 10, I don't know, 20 children. If I can take care of them, go ahead, go have 20 children. That's not a problem. Take care of. Yes, so what I'm saying is that in general, yes, money and children could be a source of fitna. So consider why you're having them.
Okay, sure. So as long as we're on the right track, pleasing Allah while having wealth and children, so we're good.
Inshallah. Yes, inshallah, yes.
Okay. All right. Page 97 to 98. What is the source of the story of Mujahid, radiyallahu anhu?
Naam. So that's an easy answer. The source is right there. So I went back there. It says on it, Hilyatul Awliya, Tahdhib Hilyatul Awliya. So the source is mentioned there. It's a summary of the book that is Hilyatul Awliya by Abu Nu'aym. It's a book where it lists the stories, lives, the sayings, the lessons from the lives of the righteous predecessors. That's the book, inshallah.
Okay. As I mentioned, we share in the Telegram group if we find the book. Okay, page 101, question number 9. How do we effectively warn other people about the wise speaker who, based on our research, is manipulating the truth for popularity?
Okay, so how do we warn people about this wise or hypocritical speaker who, based on our research, is manipulating the truth for popularity? First of all, you have to be careful about your conclusions before you decide that this person is doing it hypocritically, is doing it for fame. You really want to be sure that that's the case before being certain. All right, so that's really important. And for that, make sure that you consult with other people. Like for lay people, before you decide something like that, consult with other people and more knowledgeable people, just to make sure that your conclusion matches theirs. And you have not decided that somebody is sincere, whereas there is no evidence for it. So make sure that you don't accuse without proof, and make
Shaykh, can you repeat? Sure. Sorry, Shaykh. Can you repeat about make sure you have proof?
Yeah, make sure. Well, I don't know. I'll try. Make sure that you have proof, and make sure that you consult with more knowledgeable people to make sure that your conclusion matches theirs.
What if, we have like scholars. I mean, the one that we trusted upon Salah and upon Quran and Sunnah, named as a few scholars that we should avoid. How do we warn our friends? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to be sensitive about it, especially if those people that they told you don't listen to them are popular. So you really have to be sensitive about it. Not everybody is at a level where they can understand this. Like, for instance, there are some people who, if you share that with them, it will be a fitna for them. They would not know how to take it. The level of Islamic knowledge is so low that if you share these things with them, they really would be shaken, and they may not even take it from you. It's not to their advantage to tell them these things. For some people, their level of practice or their level of understanding of Islam is such a basic level that it is at that basic level, it's fine. Just listen to that person, because it's just okay enough that they're listening to somebody, right? And they only like this famous person. And if you tell them this famous person is not good, they're not going to listen to anybody. So it's not to their advantage to actually open that topic with them. But those with greater understanding and greater intelligence and greater wisdom, yeah, you can tell them that. But you want to make sure that whatever you are sharing with people, you don't share something that is going to cause them more harm. So that's my advice, inshallah. So going back to this question, if true, I mean, it's true that this person is manipulating the truth, or they just want to be popular, etc., etc., and you know it, and you've consulted, and it is true, then let people know about it, and simply let them decide. Simply let them decide with the qualification that if they're not at a level where they can comprehend this and it's causing them more fitna, leave them. Let them be for the time being, and just talk to the wise about this. Because if someone is popular, is a good speaker, if you start saying bad things about them, and that person is not in a state where they can understand what you're saying, they're not going to listen to you, and they will turn against you. So it's better that to hold off and not say anything until such a time where Allah provides an opportunity where you can actually speak, and what you say will make sense to them.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Okay, Shaykh. I'm going to move to question number 10. The questioner asks about, could you please elaborate on Hadith at page 102 so that we can comprehend it from its true light, perhaps by giving example. Allow me to read the Hadith, Shaykh. What I feel...
Yeah, I read it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah. That's why I went to the book so that I understand what she wanted to say. So I'll save you the trouble of reading it. You don't have to read it, inshallah. And she says how to avoid being that person. Okay, so the hadith is basically about someone who is reading the Quran, and after they see it sort of being manifested on them in behavior, they turn away from it, and they turn away from the Quran, and then they start doing what displeases Allah Azza wa Jal, calling this person a disbeliever. So she's saying that, can you elaborate on that hadith so that we can understand it?
Shaykh, the line is distorting. Can you say that again?
Okay, the hadith or the answer?
The answer.
Okay, inshallah. So this describing a greater phenomenon. The hadith is describing a greater phenomenon. That phenomenon is when somebody learns about Islam, but they don't learn enough. They start trusting their own judgment, and they start allowing their own arrogance and confidence to overcome their knowledge. And they start saying, I know enough. I know more than this person or that person. I know enough. And because of that, because their own arrogance takes them away from what they have learned. That is the greater phenomenon. That's the greater danger that we're talking about. The hadith specifically talks about someone who studies the Quran, but then because with their study of the Quran, there is still ignorance. There's a lot that they do not know, and arrogance. They think that they know. So they jump from that being not good enough Muslims or people who are apostated. Those are the examples that the sister is asking about. They have apostated. That is talking about. That's the example that maybe the sister is or wanted. It is the idea that when you learn, you have two things: thinking that you know, okay, and having confidence that you know more than others, and having arrogance tell you that now you can decide who's a believer and who's a non-believer, who should be in heaven, who should be in hell, and based on that, start, killing people, And so the example is just like ISIS. And a lot of the people who are in ISIS, right, they may have good intention, but there's a lot of it also, there's a lot of ignorance in that, and also a lot of arrogance with that we know, no one else knows, we know. Nobody else is doing good, we are. That is a problem. So how you avoid a person like that, what's most important is to avoid that within us.
Shaykh, can you repeat within us? The first thing.
I'm sorry?
The first thing you're suggesting within us, and then?
Okay, I don't remember. Okay, let me see. I'll try. I say that, no, that's fine, inshallah. I'm saying that don't believe that you know enough.
Okay.
And don't believe that you know more than other people.
Okay.
Always be humble. Always be learning. Okay. And know that, yes, subhanAllah, you will always, and I'll always be. If you do that, and you approach the Quran and you approach the Sunnah with a lot of humility, then you'll be safe from it, inshallah. And you take whatever you learn and you apply it, then you'll save from that. You'll be safe from that, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay. Question number 11. What can we do to remove worry, start trusting Allah, and start living the way we should be living as Allah wanted us to live?
Did we answer that question or?
Something about worry we have, but this context of question, yeah.
Let me see. Did we? I thought. See, like, what do we do to remove worry? Start trusting Allah. Start living the way we should be living as Allah wanted us to live. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we do to remove worry? Start trusting Allah. Start living the way we should be living. Well, keep reading. That's what I'll say.
Reading that.
Because, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, how do you stop worrying and start trusting Allah and start living the way that Allah should love you? Now, these are the type of questions that are so grand. You follow me?
Yeah.
So grand that there is no, like, I can't tell you one thing. That's why there is heart therapy book, and that is why there is heart therapy. It's just to deal with all of that. So keep reading and keep implementing that. About something. That's what the book is about. So this is how you can stop worrying, and this is how you can start trusting Allah Azza wa Jal more.
Okay.
Keep reading.
Okay. Sure. You mentioned about when a newcomer to the book club, you advise the new member to read at least the hadith, right? Arabic hadith.
Yes, at least the hadith.
Yeah.
If they're not a quick readers, at least go through the hadith 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then catch up with the group, whatever the group is doing, and read that. And whenever you have time, go back to the beginning and read hadith number 1 with the explanation, then hadith 2 with the explanation. I think you'll be able to do that fairly quickly, because the book is not really that long. Each hadith is not really that long. So yeah, read the hadiths quickly, and then just the hadith themselves, and then kind of match where the group is at.
So since you mentioned about keep on reading, so with this question, should the sister consider to read the Arabic and translation of hadith, of future hadith as well? Meaning if she has time, so that she kind of get what you're trying to put on the table for us to implement?
That's a possibility too. Sort of, if it's just like looking at the table of contents. So yeah, you can just go through and look at all the other hadith, so that you would have an idea of what's coming up. So these hadith may actually they'll give you just a general idea of what that chapter will be about. So maybe you'll start thinking that, yes, some of the questions that I have right now will be answered 5-10 hadiths in the future, inshallah.
Okay, all right. Okay, the last question, Shaykh. I am a student under JPA scholarship. JPA is a body, a government body in Malaysia who gives scholarship, So this, she is a student under JPA scholarship. At same time, I love attend Islamic talk. But I am also worried about my money share because I'm only depends on my JPA scholarship. Should I prioritize my study first or for Islamic talk? How I can be balanced between these two, Shaykh? Thank you, Shaykh.
Oh, yes. Now, so I mean, what I understand here is that she's using some of that money, or she wants to use some of that money for Islamic talks. So these Islamic talks, there are fees associated with them. That's what I understand. Or there are fees associated with attending them. So you have to spend on this maybe versus also spending on your own. So, say is that, inshallah. So what do you need to prioritize is the people who gave you the scholarship. So this is something that you either applied for or something that was granted to you. Whether you applied for it and you were given that, or it was just handed to you, this or that. The giver and the receiver. There is an assumption there that you will use this scholarship for what? This scholarship is to assist you in your studies, isn't it? So this is their understanding. You were given this so that it can assist you in that for your studies. So your responsibility, right, as a recipient of that money, is first to use that money for the purposes it was intended for. That's your first priority. So if somebody gave me money, for instance, to study medicine, I can't take it and study what? Pharmacy, or study business. They gave it to me with the condition that we gave this to you because you're going to be in the College of Medicine, let's say. So I use it there. If I'm going to be somewhere else, I can't use that money, right? So prioritize what? The reason for which they gave you that money. So you take it and you prioritize your studies. Now, whatever money you can save from that, inshallah, yeah, then you can use it for Islamic talks. You can use it for lectures. You can use it for books. You can use it for something else, taking a trip or whatever, right? Because it becomes what? Your money. And you can sometimes even, economize on some things, I'm going to not indulge in this. I'm not going to indulge in that. I can save more so I can spend it on things that I like, which is, attending Islamic talks and buying Islamic books. But don't compromise on at least the necessities that are needed for you to succeed in your studies, because this is why they gave you the money. So use the scholarship primarily for what they've given it to you for, and then try to save, inshallah, so that Allah Azza wa Jalla can give you the opportunity to do some other things with it. But don't do the opposite. They gave you the money to use for your studies. You take it and you channel it towards something else. And you don't want to do that, because you are giving this with an implicit understanding, with an implicit condition that this is for academic use.
Okay, inshallah. Shaykh, we have taken too long of your time.
No, not bad.
Alhamdulillah. I hope we all understand now Hadith 7 and 8 by heart to implement it, inshallah. May Allah make it share knowledge for us and our family. I'm so sorry, Shaykh. We're sorry for all the comments that the line is not good this today. May Allah forgive us all. And Jazakumullah khairan to Shaykh and Sis Nisa for assisting us in understanding this Hadith 7 and 8 and more. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah. I hope the experience will be better next time. And I know that it's not anybody's fault. I know it's keep giving me signals that speaker, but alhamdulillah, we'll keep trying, inshallah. This is beyond our control, so forgive us. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward the sister for all her help. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward all of you for attending, inshallah. If you've missed anything here, go back to the recording, inshallah. Once it's uploaded, I hope, inshallah, that it will be clear. Jazakumullah khair for being here. May Allah reward you for your effort, give you patience to continue reading and to continue practicing what you read, and to give you the opportunity to teach it, inshallah, to people who are around you. Inshallah, your questions, and hope, inshallah, you found that the answers were beneficial. I'll see you, inshallah, for الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.